Did you know the Jefferson House of Flowers has been a local Kokomo florist for almost 100 years? Our trained designers make beautiful arrangements for literally any occasion. You can send flowers for any reason. Birthdays, anniversaries, get well, congratulations. The list goes on. We make flowers for funerals, weddings, proposals, and even proms. Let's be honest. Receiving flowers, whether you're at home or at your work, it makes you feel special. You get butterflies and you feel loved, and that's what sending flowers is all about, the feeling it creates. Call us at 765-452-8269 and let us create something special and send it out for you. Or you can stop in and see us at 4300 West, 100 North Kokomo. We always have a cooler full of flowers that are ready to go, as well as a boutique full of gifts. Shop local, support local, and send flowers. I'm Kayla Keith, and this is Missing Midwest, a true crime podcast about those that have gone missing. Today's story has been a mystery to many for 24 years. This is the story of missing 9-year-old Asha Degree.
Hey.
Hi.
24 years? I would have been like 8.
Yeah, 2000.
Truman's age.
Yep.
It's weird to think. 2000
Yeah.
is when I was Truman's age.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I don't like it.
Yeah, we're old. Dang it. My kids call me dinosaur. Did I tell you this?
What?
Yeah. They say that I'm like a dinosaur. It's not very nice. My students.
Well, give them an F or something.
Man, I think I'm just going to fight them at recess tomorrow. Just actual fight.
Throw down on the playground.
I'm going to win.
We got a message from the girl you said you had a student that said
CC's mom. She messaged us.
CC's mom
That's right.
messaged me. I was like, yes. She was like, please don't judge me for letting my kids.
No judgment.
And I was like, I research and watch murder all day long with my 5-month-old. Like, no judgment here. She's literally going to grow
Sometimes
up.
our
True crime.
Truman will like hear us talking about a case and say nothing through our whole conversation. And then, like, later, he'll be, like, asking questions about it. We're like, oops.
Yeah, we'll be, like, recording, thinking the kids are asleep, and then, like, 2 days later, she'll be like, so that guy, did they ever find who did that? Or we're like, oh, crap.
Yeah. No judgment.
I'm, like, listen to the episode and find out. No.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no judgment for the children. And, honestly, it's a safety
Awareness,
feature.
man.
Awareness.
I view it as that. Yeah.
Cece's going to be she's stranger danger, I'm sure. She knows the drill. She's like, stranger danger. We're not talking to anybody. We're not going anywhere by ourselves. Buddy system all the way because she listens to true crime.
There you go.
Anything else?
Not today, but long sleeve tee weather is coming up. It was like 100 degrees this week. We had to cancel football practice this week because it was so hot.
Long sleeve tee right now.
Could not imagine wearing a long sleeve tee this week.
But you're gonna need one for
here in a
fall.
couple weeks. Kayla got some new shirts made up.
I did.
Nice.
One of them says the
nice.
husband probably did it because he probably did.
I'm not going to be wearing that one out in public, but, you know, it's a cool shirt, I guess. It's a cool idea. It was clever. You feel good about it? It's offensive.
It's not offensive.
To the husbands.
Statistics.
Whatever. All right. I've had my cases. I put my cases out there in proving that the wives can do it too.
Why don't you do a series of the wives did it?
I have. Like most of my cases, or not most, I shouldn't say most, but I've done a handful of clapbacks with the wives did it. All right. I'm ready for your case. I know nothing about it.
I was going to make a plea to everybody to everybody keeps asking me about my broken leg.
Oh yeah.
It's still broken. The deal would make me feel better.
Oh no.
If people would subscribe to Murder Midwest.
There you go. Hey, listen, we're closing in on 50 Murder Midwest. It's only $5.
We did 100 episodes.
Yeah, we've hit 100 episodes, and about half of those are murdered episodes. For $5 a month, you get stickers from us, and you get to listen to the almost 50 Murdered Midwest episodes.
You get more about
We did the Green River Killer yesterday,
love
which
us.
isn't in the Midwest, but Kayla's a rule breaker. I love you.
Yeah, so you get to listen to us, you get stickers, and you get to make me happy.
$5 a month. I just feel
you can directly contribute to my happiness.
There you go. You can $5 a month. That's like buying one of the Sharpies that Kayla's going to draw on her new cast with.
Seriously, I did get a new cast, and I'm going to buy a paint pen for $5 and make it pretty.
And it could be yours. Good grief. But yeah, no broken bones here so far. I mean, like in addition to the ones you already have.
It's been so calm, which is good for us. Nothing crazy's happened.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
Somebody pulled in our driveway tonight. We're like, who is it? What are they doing? Is there a person out there? What are they? I'm like, are they out of the car? What are they? The boys were looking. Johnny's looking. I was on the couch with my broken leg. Like, who is it? And then it was just our grocery delivery that I myself ordered and forgot about.
You did. That happened. All right, tell me about
right back to our boring life.
tell me about this missing persons case, dang it, before we bore them anymore with our lives.
We're not boring them. They love us. They wouldn't be here if they didn't, right?
They're probably thinking this girl's got to stop falling down. They probably think that every time we talk about your broken leg. That's what I think when every time we talk about your broken leg.
Please don't be worried about me. I promise anyone that knows me, I am such a klutz.
I'm still worried about her.
Such a klutz.
You need to be worried about me. I'm worried I'm just going to get arrested one day. And they're going to be like, your wife has exceeded the limit of broken bones in a year that she's allowed to have and not arrest the husband.
I mean, all I'm saying is you better be nice to me because I got x-rays and I could probably set you up pretty bad.
The next time Kayla falls and we have to go to the hospital, she will not be wearing the husband did it t-shirt. That will not be her apparel for that trip.
Dude, I'm going to make sure I am.
That's ridiculous. We need to move on.
Okay. We are going to Shelby, North Carolina. North Carolina might be one of my favorite states.
That's pretty cool.
Top 5 for sure. I love North Carolina. Population of this town, Shelby, is in 2000 it was right at like 21,000. They currently have like 6 to 7-ish Dollar Generals in the area, depending on where you consider city limits, I guess. We are going to talk about Asha Degree. Okay, I've seen some people pronounce it Asha. From what I've heard, and most of it was Asha. So that's what I'm going with, okay?
Okay.
So Harold and Aquila Degree, which I love that name, Aquila. They got married on Valentine's Day in 1988, okay? They had a son named O'Brien, and then a year later they had Asha. She was born in 1990. They raised both of their children in a small subdivision, a residential subdivision, kind of like rural north of Shelby, North Carolina. Regular life, very basic, regular jobs. Harold was a dock loader, and Aquila worked for a piano manufacturing company.
Fair enough.
The kids would come home after school and let themselves in, and the parents would come home from work, and they would, they expected the kids to be hanging out,
getting along, whatever, doing what
they're supposed to do. They lived a decently sheltered life. They didn't have a computer in the house. They went to church. They spent a lot of time with family, school, and together, like with their immediate family. And then they had some family that lived close by. They were involved in church. Like I said, no computer in the house. Aquila actually, in an interview in 2013, she said, every time you turned on the TV, there was some pedophile who had lured someone's child away via the internet. And so they made the decision they weren't going to even have access to the internet for their kids.
Fair enough.
Which is fair. We're about to do the same thing with my kids. So
we banned YouTube in our house because it was just, that's a long tangent. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I was gonna say. Aquila said Asha was fine with this and handled it well. She said she was a very quiet and shy child, very cautious about things. She said she was very content with the life that she lived and very content to follow her parents' rules and listen to them. Very set on behaving and just basically sounds just like a really good girl. She was scared of 3 things. She was scared to death of dogs, scared of the dark, and scared of thunderstorms, okay? Aquila said she said, I never thought she would leave the house without us, by herself. That's how scared she was. Very just
reserved, cautious,
shy. I don't even know how, what other words to describe her as, but that's the vibe that we're getting. That's what the parents have said. And so Asha was in 4th grade at a nearby elementary school.
Jesus, this is going to be tough.
It is. Yes, you teach 4th grade, so this is tough. So she was going into a 3-day weekend in February of 2000. The schools were closed that Friday on February 11th, but her parents still had to work, and so the kids spent the day with their aunt, and she lived in the same neighborhood, so she wasn't that far from home. They had youth basketball practice after school, and then the next day, Asha had a basketball game, and she was really good. She was the star point guard on her team. She actually fouled out of the game that day, and they lost, and it was the first game that they had lost. And her parents said she was pretty upset about it. She said her and a couple the girls on the team were crying afterwards. But she said her parents said she got over it, and her brother had a basketball game later that day. And she went and they watched her brother play, and she was kind of got out of it,
Okay.
Oh, I lost the game. I'm sad, but we have the whole rest of the weekend. We're moving on, So that Sunday, February 13th, sorry, I said Sunday. Yes, Sunday, February 13th, they went to church. And then they went to a relative's house for lunch, family lunch. And then they returned home and spent the day at home. Around 8 p.m. that night, both kids went to bed and they shared a room. Okay. So this is the night of the disappearance. So
And the brother's like, what, a year older than her?
yeah,
So,
the brother's only a year older. So we're getting into the timeline here. You know
Gotcha.
how you like a timeline.
Yep.
So pay attention.
I'm with you.
Ears.
Locked in.
What do you say to your kids? Listen to your. Do you say something corny like that?
I say eyes.
You probably don't.
And they'll say click, and then nobody says a word. And their
Eyes click.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, eyes, and they say click, and that means their eyes are looking at me, and they're not talking.
That's kind of stupid.
Well, I've done it every year, so.
I've heard a lot of other ones that are cuter than that.
I learned it in football when I was like 14, and then I've just used it ever since.
There's a million other ones you could do there.
No, it's awesome when we do it in a big crowd, because like when it's like a bunch of classes, and I say eyes, all of my class says click, and it gets quiet. Everybody else is like, what just happened? Like, yeah, it's my squad.
Fine, whatever. Anyway, so eyes click, you're listening. Okay. 8 p.m. that night, both kids went to bed. It was bedtime. They shared a room together. About an hour later, the power went out. There was a car accident in the neighborhood. And so the power didn't come back on until 12:30 that night.
Okay.
Harold had worked, and so he came home. And when he came home, he checked on the kids, and both Asha and O'Brien were asleep in their beds, okay? And so then he hung out, watched some TV, did whatever, I don't know. And so he went to bed around 2:30 that morning, and he checked on them again. And they were both asleep in bed. So shortly after her dad checked on him that final time that night, O'Brien, who was 10 years old, he recalled and told investigators and his parents and everyone that he remembers hearing Asha's bed squeak. But he did not get out of bed or even roll over or fully wake himself up, because he assumed she was just like changing positions. Like he said, like if they rolled over or something, her bed would squeak. And so he didn't really do anything about it, and he never saw anything, but he does remember that it was after her dad had checked on him that second time that night. So apparently this is what we can assume happened. Okay. Asha got out of her bed and she took a book bag that she had previously packed with several sets of clothes and her personal items in a purse, and she left her house.
Whoa. Wait a minute. Like willingly?
Willingly left her house. Between 3:45 and 4:15 a.m., a truck driver and a motorist saw her walking south along Highway 18.
Oh, no. What?
No.
By yourself?
By herself.
Oh, my gosh.
Which is just, there's so much to unpack here, because like there's just a lot going on. But they believe that both of these witnesses were accurate, because both of them said that she was wearing a white long sleeve t-shirt and white pants. And they both reported to see her about the same time in the same location. So they're like, okay, that's pretty accurate if we have these two people saying this.
Man.
Both witnesses reported their sightings to police after they saw the TV report within the couple days after her disappearance. One motorist that actually turned his car around because he was like, what is going
Seriously,
on?
I would.
This
I'd be like,
child
this isn't okay.
walking at 4 a.m. by herself. And she's a small child. I mean, she's 9 years old. And so he said he thought it was strange, and he said that there was a storm raging. Like, it was storming and raining out. It was a rainy night. It was storming. He said he circled back 3 times. He drove. I imagine he probably drove by. Did I just see that? Turned around,
comprehend.
Drove back by.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, little girl. Goes down, turns back around, drives back by. When he's driving back by, he pulls over and rolls his window down because he's gonna ask, do
you need a ride?
Need help? Do you need a ride? Can we call somebody? Whatever. And when he saw her pull over, she ran into the woods. There was a woods beside the highway, and she ran into it.
Oh my gosh.
And so I don't know why he didn't call the police or anything,
Man.
but yeah. But with the consistency of the descriptions and everything, they believe in the same location, and she was heading in the same direction. They believe that both of these witnesses were spot on. This was Asha. Okay. Bo Digital is the secret ingredient you need for success in marketing your small business. From logos and flyers to social media and videos, Bo Digital can create the marketing you need to set yourself apart. Oh, and they build websites too. Not only do they help my small business, but did you know that they help many others around Kokomo too? including Solidarity Community Credit Union, the Lindy Owsley and Chanel Cahill Real Estate Team, Hope Behavioral Services, and even the Kokomo Symphony. Let Bo build a custom plan for you today. Learn more at bowdigital.com. That's BOWE digital.com. So Aquila wakes up, and so she actually had to wake up a little bit earlier because they weren't able to take their baths the night before due to the power being out. And so she woke up a little bit earlier than normal because she was going to do bath time with the kids. And so she went and she started the bath, and then she went to their bedroom to go wake them up. When she opened the bedroom door, she saw that O'Brien was asleep in his bed and Asha was not. Aquila immediately went and searched the house. Like, did she wake up and go, is she watching TV on the couch? Like, I can only imagine the absolute panic that ensued, checking everywhere possible for her daughter. She could not find them, so she wakes Harold up and she says, we can't find Asha. And so he said, well, maybe she went, his mom actually lived across the street. So he's like, well, maybe she went to my mom's house. And so she called over there. Her sister-in-law answered and said, no, she's not here. And that's when Aquila said panic mode set.
I can't imagine.
She said she called her mom, and her mom said, you need to call the police. And so she put her shoes on, ran outside, looked around, called the police, and started everything. You can actually hear her 911 call. It's awful. So sad. By 6:40 a.m., so 6:45 a.m. is when she woke up to go get the bath water drawn. 6:30 was usually when she would wake the kids up. They woke up. She woke up at 6:45 that morning to do bath time. By 6:40, the policemen were on scene at the house. Police dogs were called to the scene, but they could not pick up her scent. I don't know if this was because of the rain. He said it had been raining and it was wet out. Aquila was going through the neighborhood calling Asha's name. And she said the entire, which she woke everybody up.
Yeah.
And so the entire neighborhood was awake by 7 a.m., she said, and all of them were out helping. Man. Family, friends, neighbors, everyone was assisting with the search. The pastor and people from their church had came over and were like supporting the family and doing what they could. By the day's end, though, the only thing they found was a mitten, which Aquila said didn't even belong to Asha. And so local news coverage, like I said, that is what prompted the two witnesses to come forward and tell police what they had seen. And so once those sightings had been reported to the police, now they're like, okay, like, what are we dealing with here?
Seriously.
Like, did she run away? Did somebody tell her to come out? Where was she going? Very strange. So February 15th, the day after she disappeared, there were some candy wrappers that were found in a shed at a nearby business along the highway near where Asha had been seen running into the woods. A lady had went out to her shed and she saw some weird things. There was a pencil, a green marker, and a yellow hair bow, and then the candy wrappers. And she had seen that Asha had went missing in the area, and so she thought this was strange. Her crime junkie senses were going off, and so she reported it to police, and police came and saw it, and those items were identified as Asha's.
Wow. Okay.
The candy wrappers, she had gotten candy after her basketball game, and it was the same candy that she had gotten that day.
So,
and
this is the day after she went missing?
February 15th.
So, like, she'd been there less than 24 hours prior to this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, the pencil, the marker, and the hair bow, like, her parents were like, yeah, those are hers.
Okay. Wow.
In this shed.
Yikes.
So, like, she had ran off the road after that car and found a shed and took shelter in it, which he said it was storming.
Yeah.
They also found a picture of a black girl around Asha's age who has yet to be identified.
What?
They have no idea who it is, why Asha would have had it, if Asha had it, or it was just in the shed, or if it was somebody else's.
What the heck?
Yeah. This was the only trace of Asha that they found during like that initial search for her. On February.
What a either
puzzle, man.
Either red herring that picture is, or like what the actual heck that we're dealing with here. I
don't like any of it. It's so many like tingly spidey senses going off when I hear these things. I need it out. On February 16th, Aquila went through Asha's bedroom and she found that some of her favorite clothing was missing. So a pair of blue jeans with a red stripe were missing, and those were some of Aisha's favorite things. And so, along with some other items of clothing that were missing. A week later, the search was called off. 9,000 man hours had been spent to search a 2 to 3 mile radius of where she had last been seen. There were flyers posted, the searches, everybody, everywhere. They had over 300 leads that were submitted about tips and sightings. And,
I mean, that's amazing to me that they had 300 leads based on like the little that you have here.
But investigators, the county sheriff, Dan Crawford, at a news conference, he said, "We have never really had that first good substantial lead." He urged the media to keep the story alive. So he's basically like, we have 300 leads. None of them are good.
Man.
So at a news conference on February 22nd, Dan Crawford, he said he was going long range in the search for Aisha. The FBI and the SBI all got involved. SBI being the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation.
Okay.
They got involved, and they put her into the missing children's databases and stuff. And they were searching. They finished searching the area around her home, and they had finished searching the area around where they had last seen her. But they had said, we're following everything, and that's what they meant by going long range. Like, we're moving out.
Sure.
Like, they were confident that they found
wasn't
everything
right there.
they found everything they could in those areas, and so they were going to be going further out. But they also announced that from Aquila's account of what was missing from Aisha's room and her belongings, they believed that she had planned and prepared for this for several days up to her disappearance.
Man, I mean, she's 9 or 8, whatever.
9. So that's what they said. So there was an expert from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, shout out John Walsh. They said this is not your typical runaway. They said children before 12 years of age are not considered to be runaways because, like, very rarely do people run away before age 12 unless there's like a serious dysfunction in the family. And her family was like so sweet and nice. Like, she had, aside from losing that basketball game, like nothing. I mean, like at 9 years old, like what kind of stressors can you possibly have in your life? Like, your mom and dad work a 9 to 5, like they work. You're surrounded by family, you go to church, you're 4th grade, like she's not like in this horrible family. They said her academic performance, her sport performance, like she was a good kid. And so they said, like, she's not your typical runaway.
So
like,
that's
she's
just
only 9 years old.
Yeah.
And so
planned it for days.
But they said the way that with all the items that she took, I mean, she took the candy, she took her clothes. I mean, she had packed, and from all accounts, they think she planned this departure for days and did it.
So, like, what did she have? Like an alarm clock that she set? Like, how did she know to wake up?
Right. Then? And so they believe that she either like got off track from her plan or was abducted. I just like, well, I'm just going to stop here from my notes because I just cannot like wrap my head. I, sitting here as a 31-year-old full-grown adult, could not even imagine any 9-year-old that I know being willing to go out of your house in the middle of the night by yourself in the middle of a storm and just start walking. I'd be scared to. My parents live 3 miles over. I'd be scared to walk there right now in the dark by myself as an adult. They also, remember what her mom said she was scared of? The dark.
Dogs.
And
the
storms
dark.
and dogs.
Yeah.
Like, 2 of the 3 were happening and she left her house willingly?
Man.
That's terrifying. It gives me anxiety to think about going out of my house in the middle of a storm. But at 9 years old? And then she ran into the woods. That's even scarier. Like, the woods is a scary place. At night,
In a storm?
None of this.
What
None of this makes sense.
runs into the woods?
What 9-year-old wakes up between
That too. How
3
did
and
she wake
6
up?
a.m. and without an alarm? And then if you have an alarm, you're setting yourself up to wake other people up.
Her brother didn't hear an alarm.
Yeah.
He heard her roll into bed, but he didn't hear an alarm.
So like
There's just so much here. And there's so many different pieces of this story that make me think different things. So packing your bag makes me think runaway. But the leaving the house, being scared makes me think she was meeting somebody. Like she didn't think she was gonna have to be out there that long because she may meet somebody, but she didn't have access to the internet.
yeah.
Like they said, if she would have had access to the internet, it would have been at school. And they're like, 4th grade, we didn't have,
Right.
and it was in 2000. Like
Sure.
she's not like on a chat room in 4th
Right.
grade at the elementary library. So and even then, apparently the plan to meet wasn't meeting outside your house because she was like a mile away from the house.
As I said, if it was like a planned abduction, it would have been like outside her house or close enough to where she wouldn't have
not
to
a
walk.
mile away when you
No.
walk and run into the
Yeah.
woods.
Yeah. What the heck?
I just picture her taking shelter in a shed, an unknown shed in the middle of the storm, in the middle of the woods, in the middle of the night by yourself. I cannot even fathom.
So, like-
what? That to me is like, what was she running from that was so bad? To me, she's running away from something that is worse than walking through a woods in the middle of a storm by yourself at night, which is gotta be pretty bad
Yeah.
for a 9-year-old girl. So were things not perfect at home?
Man.
Was something going on at home that was actually that bad that she's like, screw this, I'm getting out of here? Because she's smart.
Yeah. I'm at a loss. I mean, it's not making sense.
So media attention went national with this case. A month after her disappearance, the family appeared on the Montel Williams show, America's Most Wanted, and the Oprah Winfrey Show also had segments on it. In March of 2000, police put a full-size color billboard with her picture and information right where she was last seen on that highway. In May of 2001, so we're a year later and nothing's happened, there was a race car driver, Travis Kittleson, and he was in Concord, North Carolina for a race, and he was like, I have the perfect opportunity to put Aisha's picture on my car, and maybe with any luck we can bring her home. And so he put her picture on the hood of his car because he knew that race was going to be live on
Sure.
TNN.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was pretty cool. On August 3rd, 2001, there was a construction crew working on a project off of Highway 18 in Burke County, which was near Morganton. It's about 26 miles north of Shelby, okay?
But same highway that she was on.
Same
right?
highway.
Okay.
Yes. A construction crew was digging, and they found a plastic bag. Inside that plastic bag was another plastic bag. And inside that plastic bag was a book bag. And that book bag contained Asha's name and phone number. Aisha's name and phone number. Now, this man, he threw the book bag in his car or whatever and was like, whatever. And he didn't think anything of it because he had not heard about Aisha's disappearance. The next morning at breakfast, he was telling his wife, oh, no, I found this book bag and it has, it had some stuff in it. And it was weird, it was a bag and it had these items in it and it was in a bag and then that bag was in a bag. And the wife's like, oh, what did it say? And he's like, oh, Asha Degree. And her mom's like, his wife is like, what?
Yeah, true crime junkie.
She had known about it. And so she immediately called the police. The FBI took it to their lab in Quantico, and they have never shared publicly what the results were. To this day, that is the last evidence found in the case.
Wow.
Stanley Cleaning Company has an exciting new service they are offering, and I can't wait to tell you about it. Laundry. Yes, they will come to your house, and for $15 a load, they will pick it up, take it, wash it, dry it, fold it, and bring it back to you. This is something I have dreamed about since I became an adult and started doing laundry on my own. Hit them up and get your place cleaned and your laundry done by my friends over at Stanley Cleaning Company. You can find them on Facebook or give her a call or a text at 765-860-3606. On the 20th anniversary of her disappearance, the FBI confirmed that the book bag contained, are you ready?
Yes.
There was a copy of Dr. Seuss's I can't even pronounce that, McElligot's Pool, and a t-shirt depicting the band New Kids on the Block. Neither of these were her property.
What?
Like, her mom said these were not hers. However, the book came from her elementary library.
What the heck?
So, like, I guess it could have been hers. Her mom says it wasn't, but I mean, my kids have checked out books that I don't know about, I guess.
But even then, they would be able to like see what book she checked out.
Oh, okay, maybe that's what they mean then. They said it wasn't her book, so maybe they know that. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. So yeah, it was from her elementary school library, but it was not hers. And then this T-shirt. They said there's been other leads. They've all turned to dead ends. There was an inmate at a county jail that gave them a tip in 2004, and the police ended up like digging at like a certain site, and they did turn up some bones, but they were animal bones, so that lead died. And then they said they've done an age progression photo of her by the FBI that they've released. That's about it. So the Degree family, they in 2008 they established a scholarship in her memory, and then they host an annual walk to raise awareness and to fund money for their search. The walk starts at their home and ends at the missing person billboard, which is exactly where the last people saw her running into the woods that night. It was originally held on February 14th, but they changed it to February 7th because the Herald and Aquila didn't want like
Valentine's Day.
People to make Valentine's Day like a bad day for them.
Sure.
Which that was their anniversary. They got married on Valentine's Day.
That's what I thought you said at the very beginning.
On Valentine's Day. So I said like they have the pictures of her in their house. They have the pictures of her from when she was a little girl, and then they have her age progression pictures in their house too. And Aquila says, I still fully expect her to walk through the door.
Whoa. Yeah. Jeez. That gave me chills. Yeah. I mean, goodness.
They have a reward of the FBI has a reward of $25,000. I said $25,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person or persons responsible for her disappearance. And then there's another community group that's offering an additional $20,000 reward. In May of 2016, the FBI announced that their reinvestigation on the case turned up a possible new lead, and they said that Asha may have been seen getting into a dark green early 1970s Lincoln Continental or possibly a Ford Thunderbird along Route 18. It was described as having rust along the wheel wells. They have not said why they think this,
held this to your chest.
They think this, but to bring that to the public, it must be
it's
like
a pretty detailed
lead.
account and a pretty detailed vehicle to be looking for.
Yeah, so I don't know what took so long, 16 years for somebody to come forward with this information. I don't know if maybe somebody came forward a long time ago and the FBI just, like you said, they were keeping it close to the chest, and then they decided, well, what the heck, we'll just tell the public and see what we can do. I have no idea. But if the FBI says it, I'm gonna, think that it's probably pretty accurate.
Right.
In September of 2017, the FBI announced that its card team pop quiz.
I remember that.
What it is?
I don't remember what it means, but I remember we had it in a Fort Wayne case.
Okay.
April Tinsley, right?
Yeah, look at you. Child abduction rapid deployment team.
Okay.
It was in Cleveland County to assist in the reinvestigation and provide on-the-ground investigative, technical, behavioral analysis, and analytical support to find out what happened to Asha. That was a quote. The team worked alongside the FBI and the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office and the North Carolina State Bureau for 10 days. They worked on this case. And they said the agency still meets several times a month to go over the investigation. Since 2017, they have conducted over 300 interviews, they've said.
Man.
In October of 2018, the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office appealed for information from the public about those 2 items found in Asha's book bag. So McElligot's Pool, which was a children's book, and it was borrowed from the elementary school library in early 2000. And then the New Kids on the Block t-shirt, they said these are vital clues. But they didn't say what. But they weren't Asha's. In November 2020, there was an inmate named Marcus Mellon. He was convicted of sex crimes against kids. And he wrote to the Shelby Star claiming that that Asha was murdered and he knows where to find her. But then they said they followed up in 2021. They announced that they did follow up on that and that lead had led to another dead end.
My goodness.
And that is all that they have on the disappearance of Asha Degree.
So here's my thing. I think there's no way that an adult was not involved.
Okay.
I don't think it just
statement.
So
I agree.
Here, I mean, unless I found out that she was like high ability, like a level 10 student kind of thing, that she could like have the capability at 9 years old to formulate a plan of actually being able to get from step to step. Because walking a mile from your home, that's like step 8. That's not like I'm running away. You get your backpack, you walk out the front door, then you're like,
how many
crap.
kids have said I'm running?
That's what I'm saying.
And then in their book bag, they got like one string cheese and their favorite.
Yeah,
book.
yeah.
She had like they said multiple outfits.
Well, and to get that far without being like, oh crap, I don't know what to do next.
Exactly.
Like,
or get scared.
That is a plan with like direction given
and an end game.
Yeah. But then again,
what about the picture of the other little black girl?
that is sticking in my side. Who is
I just like, what could
does
that
this
be?
does the T-shirt in the Dr. Seuss book belong to that girl?
Exactly.
Crazy.
Or was it the adult that was responsible for this? Did he have the picture of that little girl? Did someone convince her that she was going to go help the little girl? Was she taking clothes?
That's what I'm saying, though. All those scenarios involve another adult. I do not believe that this was through and through.
That's
all
a
of her.
good basic statement, I would say. For you, I'm like I like the statement then, because I'm like,
An adult had to be involved.
I have so many different theories of like, she ran away, she didn't, she talked to somebody, she didn't. But that's a good basic that covers our basics here. I think you're right. Involved. There had to be an adult involved.
So then, like, you go
because also, what kid is like buried in a book bag and it was double bagged?
Yeah.
The other thing I heard, somebody else said this. Actually, this was on Crime Junkie. She said something that stuck out to her was like, if you were trying to get rid of a book bag, wouldn't you just like discard it? But if you were trying to preserve it, wouldn't you double wrap it?
Man, yeah, that's a good point.
Like, didn't it sound like, she said it just sounded like
a predator double wrapped it to preserve.
So he could go back and see it.
Yeah.
Go back and get it, go back and see it or something.
Yeah, and so like another thought that I have here is
also, she did not get 26 miles by herself.
No chance.
Without an adult.
Yeah.
So, and that book bag was found 26 miles away from where she went missing.
For sure.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I hate this case
so much.
Every time I think about it, and that it's still active and they still post updates and things, and I see her picture and she was such a cute little girl.
I feel like here's the thought I was trying to get to. Without the internet, right? Like, she doesn't have the internet.
Yeah.
You can calculate every adult that has been in her life for the days leading up to this.
So if you guys are bored, like if you maybe break your leg and you have nothing to do but sit on your couch and you want to go down the Asha Degree rabbit hole of possibilities and theories out there, prepare to be busy for the next like 3 weeks, because it is a deep dark hole of, was somebody in her life grooming her and like was responsible for this? Because like you said, she didn't have access to the internet, so like who was responsible? There's like you said, there's an adult here. We can look at every single person that she knew. She was only, this church, her family, her school. That's about all you got. Basketball team.
Well, and it's like, like her if she wanted to run away too, her aunt's house was in the same neighborhood. So like if it was
grandma.
Yeah, if it was really like, oh, I need to go somewhere else.
Unless there's some really creepy dark family secret, which is definitely in the rabbit hole as well.
Yeah.
That there was like, and I'm not gonna like accuse the parents of anything when there's really not anything to go on at all there. But some people are like, to make a little girl walk through the woods at night in a storm, you would have to be running from some pretty scary stuff. The other thing too is crime of opportunity. Some creeper could have just been driving along the highway and saw a little
Gift
girl.
wrap. This is gift wrap.
Literally.
Yeah.
But again,
What made her go out?
what made her go out that night?
Oh gosh, it's gross. It's a terrible case.
Awful.
That's so tough, man.
I'll post some pictures of her. Comment, let us know what you think. What's your theory? I know that you guys have read or seen or heard something that I didn't mention tonight.
I mean, this is 24 years ago. Like someone
there's
knows something.
Somebody
Is out there, and someone
I
knows
think
something.
that we'll probably see this one get solved.
Man, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. That'd be goodness, because that's a puzzle that I can't even compute.
This is a big puzzle.
Yeah.
A 24-year-old puzzle.
Someone knows something. This podcast is a So.Will.I.Studos production. So will I.
Johnny, question for you.
Yeah.
If I was somewhere in Kokomo and it wasn't our house and it wasn't the flower shop, where would I be?
Easy. Humble home.
Yes, you're right. You guys, listen up. Humble Home is my absolute favorite place to be for so many reasons. No matter what I am looking for, I always check Humble Home first. Clothes, shoes, toys, decor, furniture, makeup, they literally always have something that I need. They have brand name items for cheap. Their inventory is constantly changing, so it's part of my weekly routine to do a Humble Home walkthrough. You absolutely need to stop by. I promise you won't be disappointed. While it is a discount store, it's not your average discount store. It's clean, organized, and everything has its place. I get zero anxiety when I go in, unlike other discount stores. And no matter what you're shopping for, a home project, gifts, home decor, even seasonal decor, they will have it. They are open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Sunday from noon to 5. You can follow them on Facebook at Humble Home Kokomo and watch for new items every single day. And for our Lafayette, Indiana listeners, I have exciting news. They're opening a second location in Lafayette soon. As soon as I have the details, I will let you know their opening date. Get excited.